Hey, what up guys? It's SPD Ghost 408, and this is going to be a home server build that I'm working on using the following parts. Server case is going to be a cheap Logisys CS4801BK server case. It's a 4U case using two 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drives. One's a Western Digital Enterprise drive that I pulled out of this Dell 490. The other one's a Western Digital Purple drive that I got. Those are just the two drives that I'm throwing in there just for the time being until I can get more drives. The motherboard I'm using is a Gigabyte X150M Pro ECC motherboard, and that's going to be powered by a Xeon E3 1220 version 5 LGA 1151 socket. I have 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, 2133 megahertz, and a GT 630 video card. Plan on installing Esxi or Hyper-V on it to do some virtualization stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with this just yet. I don't know whether I'm going to use Esxi or just turn it into... Probably, I'm more than likely going to be installing Esxi on this server. So with that said, I haven't seen a lot of information on this case on YouTube or any other platform, so I'm going to go into this case, which is a Logisys 4U industrial server chassis. The model number on it is CS4801BK. Let's see if I can zoom in on it right here. We'll get into the front. It has a 120 millimeter fan up front, and then right here on the top of the case, there are two 80 millimeter fans hooked up. So let's go to the front. Has a key. Comes with 3 keys on it. And let's see if I can get it down a little bit. So what you got is you got your on-off switch. You got a reset button, LED lights for power. What is it for? Power, sleep, and hard drive activity. It looks like just very cheap, regular LEDs. You got an audio plug, you got a headset jack, and you got 2 USB 2.0s on the front. You have 3 5¼ bays on the side here, and inside the server, inside the case, you have expandability for 6 hard drives. So let me stop the video for a second. I'm going to take the lid off. Actually, I can probably do that right here on the fly. So to take the lid off, there's 2 screws. There's 1 screw on this side, and then there's 2 thumb screws on the back. So you take that off and you hold the server case back, and that will show the 2 80 millimeter fans that you have on the top. I'm going to set that aside. Let's see if I can get you in here. So now inside the case, it's a 4U case, so 7 inches tall. The dimensions are around 17 inches in this direction, 17 inches back, and it's 7 inches deep. So from here to here, 7 inches. So it's a standard 4U case, just a little smaller. Your hard drives slide in right here, so you have expandability up to 6 hard drives in this area right here. The 120 millimeter fan, you can't see it, but it's right in front of the hard drive, so it's going to be blowing cold air on the hard drives. Included is all of your cables, screws, standoffs for the server case. So this can accept anywhere from an ITX motherboard all the way up to a full ATX motherboard. I believe the dimensions are 12 by 10 ATX motherboard. So you have quite a bit of room to work with in here. So that's on with the case. So we'll get on with other parts. I'm going to stop the video and move on to the next. Alright guys, so on to the other parts of the server. We'll start with the motherboard. The Gigabyte X150 Pro ECC motherboard. I purchased non-ECC RAM with this build because I initially purchased ECC RAM. Newegg was selling this CPU, this motherboard with an 8 gigabyte stick of ECC DDR4 RAM for a good price, and I bought it. Well, when I did a previous build on this, I built one of these servers before, and I made the mistake of buying the bundle, thinking it was going to automatically be compatible, and it wasn't. So I called Gigabyte, and they said the memory is not compatible. So just for the sake of it being easy, I went ahead and just purchased 16 gigabytes of non-ECC RAM, which will make this build a whole lot easier. 600 watt EVGA power supply. It's a 600 watt bronze power supply. That's going to be powering this whole thing. And like I said, as of right now, I just got the 2 hard drives. But I did have those 2 hard drives in this Dell 490. This Dell 490 had dual Xeon processors, but the memory in it was DDR2, had 32 gigs of DDR2. So I'm hoping this one Xeon processor with the faster memory is going to be better off for me. So let's get on with the build, shall we? Got the build complete. Didn't take me too long. Like I said, just put the motherboard, CPU, power supply in, put the graphics card in, and the 2 hard drives. I'll deal with cable management in here in a little while. I just want to see if I can get this thing to post right from the get-go. So let me move this over to my rack, and we'll get this thing set up. Alright guys, I'm gonna put this on my little makeshift server rack. Just resting it on these 2x4s temporarily until I get it permanently installed. Alright, there we go. So now let me just go ahead and plug this up and see if I can get it to post. Alright guys, got it racked up. Let's make sure it's powered on. Power supply is on. Alright, we got it to post. Can't remember if it's F2 or delete. Here we go. We're in. Alright guys, well, looks like now I'm going to go ahead and set up some things in the BIOS and get Esxi installed on this. So I'll see you on a little bit. Alright guys, I got this set up as a RAID 1 mirror array. So I got my two 1 terabyte hard drives. I got it RAID 1 so it's mirrored, so I got 884 gigabytes of usable space. So let's go ahead and escape out of this. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes. F12 to enter the boot menu. And I will select the SanDisk, which is my USB drive. And I will go through the Esxi installer. And now we're going to be going through the process of installing Esxi 6.0.